it's like a lot of people, and a lot of our clients are students, like they kind of like figured it out, even like on the front end. They're like 20, 30, like 40% profitable, which is ridiculous. If they if they would add like the subscription on the back end.
Yeah, again, especially for those people doing well already. You can be doing better. Try not to have those dead ends in your business. Especially, if you're obviously profitable already, like look at what other places where you can monetize. Maybe you haven't been doing like email marketing automations on the back end, right? That's like easy. That's free money, right? That's like I said, I would recommend people get to that level. I think consumables and supplements, they're very high margin, and there's a lot of opportunity to grow, like as far as growth is concerned, especially easy subscription in there as well, right? Like if you're selling like, again, protein powder, lipsticks, whatever.
Hey guys, Alex Fedotoff here, and very excited to have today's guest. So today's guest is Peter Pru. So Peter, I mean, if you like pretty much search on Clickfunnels topic, or like basically funnels, e-commerce funnels on YouTube, you'll probably like 90% you've hit some of the Peter's videos. And I mean, she's sharing a lot of value, man. Like actually one of the funnels, I remember you had this like funnelish or something video. And so about like 2.5 years ago, we've set up one of the funnels for us. It was like the product that done like incredibly well. So it's the product itself like done like we done like 7 million with that product. And that the funnelish integration, we've done by following pretty much your videos. So man,
that's funny. So many people have hit me up on that. Like even like big names in the ClickFunnels community have like commented on that video, like say, "Oh, thank you." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome!" Like just that one video.
Awesome, man. Happy to have you. Yeah, if you can give some background, like how you started, like with funnels, with e-commerce, with drop shipping.
Yeah, so like my story is definitely much longer than most, success stories that you see out there. I always make the joke it's a 10-year overnight success story. I got started just in online marketing in general when I was in college, learned about affiliate marketing, made a little bit of money, didn't make much, but it was like, it should, the first sale is always the biggest in my opinion. It's like, it shows that it's actually possible to make money online. Made a little bit of money with affiliate marketing, not enough to not go to work. So after college, went and got a job, started realizing, why am I selling other people's products when I could just be selling my own products and keeping all of the profits? And that's when I kind of started getting into e-commerce, right? Started learning about e-commerce there. Put in a good amount of money into an Amazon FBA business, which did really well. We were, our first year, I mean, we were doing like $80,000 a month, which was awesome, right? But unfortunately, I don't want to bash Amazon. It's a good sales channel, but you don't realize these things when you're a newbie, that it's like, oh wait, you're just building Amazon's business, right? I thought I actually had like a business, but in actuality, I didn't. We had like the Amazon landscape is strange because a competitor can come on your listing, make some false claims against you, and then you have to battle it out with them to get your listing back. And that's essentially what happened to us. Lost that business. Well, got it back about a year later, but the damage was kind of already done. And I made that realization because I was obviously still working full time. And I was like, man, like nobody even like, I can't even tell people that my business is gone, right? Like nobody knew. I don't have an email list. I don't have like any way to really contact them. And I was like, oh, well, I'm just off of Amazon. Like it was funny. A little bit of time went by there. I always had this entrepreneurial kind of like bug and being like, I was always working on something, after work, trying to make something happen. And that's, at that point I was like, wait, like how do I actually build something that's that works for, like, that I actually have control of, something that I could potentially sell in the future, something that I can't get shut down. That's when I started learning about Shopify and just storefronts on WooCommerce was very big. It still is, but was very big back then as well. And started building out those businesses, and it was good. Started making sales, started understanding how to actually monetize a back end of a business. That's something that's like so important that it goes over a lot of newbies' heads, but like that's like the most important thing to understand. Like, how do you monetize a lead, right? Like, not even if they buy or not, but like, how do you monetize that lead? Made sales, didn't really make enough to quit my job yet. I was in a mastermind group of e-commerce sellers back at that time, and this was like 5 years ago, maybe almost
Mhm.
6 now. And I was in like a small little mastermind community, and they had this new software that was coming out, and they were doing demos, and that was ClickFunnels. There was some guys from ClickFunnels that were doing like demos of the software and trying to get initial users on there. And that's when I started kind of learning about a sales funnel. It's such a
Mhm.
foreign concept in e-commerce, at least. I know you talk about it a lot, but it really, like, most e-commerce sellers don't understand like what a funnel is.
Mhm.
And that's when like my perspective on it all changed, right? It's like, why is it important to have an email list? Why is it important to generate leads for your business?
Mhm.
Identify them as buyers. Monthly. For me, one of my biggest pillars is monthly subscription as well, right?
Yeah.
Such an important thing to have in your business, that way you're not fighting for those new customers every single month. You're
Mhm.
able to, even if we all have slumps of sales in our businesses. You'll know that as you obviously, look at your numbers year over year. But like, that helps you there as well. Like, you can have a bad month of sales, but you still have that resubscribers, whether it's a digital members area or
Mhm.
a subscription box, like physical products in the mail every month. Started learning about that, and then also, most importantly, like, learning about how to set up a back end of a business, right? A lot of people, like, and this, when I talk about this, like, I'm talking to you because I think your audience will understand this stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like, they're more advanced, they understand this stuff. But it's not like always so important to necessarily be profitable on like that very first sale. Like, some people are like, oh, I need to make my money back right on that first sale. And it's,
Yeah.
in actuality, like, it's so freeing when you actually can understand, like, oh wait, I can actually acquire customers at like $50 and still be profitable, because I understand how my,
Mhm.
not just funnel works, but like the back end funnels, like the email automations, the remarketing campaigns that you have set up. Somebody I consider a mentor of mine was Dan Kennedy. Never met him, but like, I read all his books and courses and stuff. And what
Mhm.
he would say when he went into businesses, he would say, hey, what's your cost to acquire a customer?
Mhm.
And they would be like, oh, it's $10. And he'd be like, okay, well, let's figure out a way to add a zero to that.
Mhm.
Right. Like, and imagine, like, that was his mission. Like, he was like, how do I add a zero to our
Yeah.
clients'
Typically,
customer
typically
acquisition?
everyone's the reverse, right? Everyone's like, how do we get like cheap leads? How do we get like cheap customers?
Mhm.
Like CPA, like how do we lower it, right?
And imagine how freeing that is. Let's say like somebody does a free plus shipping or a discount offer here, and you can only spend $10, right? Imagine if you could have spent $100 to acquire customers and still be profitable, right? You'll destroy your competition, right? You'll
Mhm.
be able to pay yourself more or invest more in your business. And that's like the mindset shift. Like, I'm not, I'm not here to, like, I don't bash like any storefront. I still think those are important to have, but like, for cold traffic, because there's so many advertisers, ad costs are higher, right? People are more skeptical, right,
Mhm.
when they make buying decisions. Now, it's important to have some sort of nurturing, because most people that come to your site aren't going to buy from you, right? So what does it look like after
Mhm.
they come in contact with you for the very first time? Sorry, a little long-winded there of an
That's
explanation, but
good, man. That's good. So like with ClickFunnels, like how do you see like it evolved? Because I mean, from my perspective, and we still use it. Like, you probably need like a developer or someone like to help you out sometimes with that. Like, how do you see the kind of the evolution? Like, does that get better? Because I don't remember it like when it just started. Like, is that
Yeah,
like getting better?
it's definitely gotten better. Like, it's funny, like, ClickFunnels, obviously, most people on ClickFunnels are also, they're selling some like information products, right?
Hmm.
For me, I've always liked to merge the two, just because, information products high margin, physical products not so much.
Hmm.
But yeah, they're getting better. I think over, and the thing is, like, to me, I don't care what software people use. Like, you could build out these things in WordPress if you want to. Funnels have been around. A lot of people think like, like Russell and ClickFunnels, they invented this, but they didn't. These are like the most basic websites, like, of all time, right? They're not. They're meant to be very simple, because it's like cold traffic. You don't want to confuse them.
Hmm.
But they've been around forever, whether it's like you use WordPress or, maybe, I think you could build it out in like a Shopify store with like Pages and Zipify, all those apps and stuff like that. Whatever works for you, it's the principles that are important. I just use ClickFunnels personally, though.
Hmm. Cool. And what do you see, like, so you observe, you also have students, right? And you have people you work with. So what are the main, like, three mistakes you see people are making, like, when either they want to, like, start their business, right? Like e-commerce business, like what are the main kind of like mistakes they're making, or when they already have a business and they want to scale it, kind of like what are the mistakes?
It's funny. So we started like building funnels for
Mhm.
people. It's just like our highest ticket thing for people to do. And what we realized, and you might realize this too, you probably realize this too because you have students and stuff, is like most people, like students, they just like overthink things like crazy. Like we can build a funnel, launch a funnel within like a week's time, and it's already making sales because we're not necessarily like so emotionally attached to the result, right? And that's like the number one mistake I think a lot of people make, is that they they don't understand like what a feedback loop is. They don't understand resistance. They don't understand a
Mhm.
lot of those things where a lot of times you're not going to hit it out of the park. I mean, I've had a lot of business failures. It took me many years
Mhm.
to be successful. Nobody even that's successful considers them successful. There's always like the next thing, but don't get so emotionally tied to result, right? Look at like results as some sort of output that you got, right? And just look at it as like a data point and be like, okay, well, that didn't work. Let me change the input, right? And see what I get. Because at the end of the day, whether it's a good result or a bad result, right? That is simply just that's literally just data. That is not that there's
Mhm.
nothing tied to that. And I think a lot of people, a lot of newbies, they struggle with that. They overthink things. They think everything needs to be like absolutely perfect,
Mhm.
especially when they launch. And this is always like, and you probably have like a lot of people that are going in for the first time
Mhm.
ever, and it's like, man, like everything's on the line for them. But you realize as your journey through an entrepreneur, right? Like you have to get comfortable, being
Mhm.
in uncomfortable situations, right? It's like, and
Mhm.
trust me, even when you start getting to $500,000 a month, right? And you think that your life's going to be so great, it's going to be good. It's going to be awesome, right? There's going to be things that change you as a person will be better, but like you'll have a lot more responsibilities. Don't think that like, oh, you're just going to be like hanging out on the beach, right? You might have employees then that rely on you, right? You might have to pay like benefits to people. Like there's like always the next level. It's never just like, oh, you sit there and do nothing all day, right? And yeah,
Mhm.
personally, I wouldn't. I'd go crazy if I did that. You should enjoy working on your business. So
Awesome, man. And for like more advanced people, like what are the main like things that?
that are missing, it comes back to most people don't understand what a funnel looks like, or how it works, right? When we work with somebody that maybe has like a good Shopify store is already working, we don't change around like what they're selling. Why we just change the way it's sold. Like building assets for your business is the most important thing to me, especially if you're somebody that wants to sell your business. Like they're going to ask you like, what's your email list, what are your social media, like how does all of that look like?
Mhm.
And for me, it's like, especially for somebody that's already doing well and is comfortable, that's like the danger zone, by the way, right?
Mhm.
When you're doing well and you're not like trying new stuff, like
Mhm.
always be willing to try it. Even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, just try it out. If it doesn't work for you, at least you tried it, right? You have that data. But like
Mhm.
setting up a funnel where it's like, okay, the first thing is like, some sort of special offer that you put together. And this special offer is only for to acquire new customers and leads, right? So it's free plus shipping, right? Like for my supplement, just before we started recording, I was saying, hey, we're going to do like free plus shipping, little package, just to get people to
Mhm.
try it. So maybe you're doing like makeup or skincare, right? Maybe somebody doesn't want to buy the full price yet because they haven't even tried it yet. So do like something free plus shipping that's going to, generate an email list. When they come there, you want to get the special thing, enter your email to claim this, right? Then you have your order form there as well, where you can then, identify the buyers, right?
Mhm.
Then you set up different kinds of upsells, and then most importantly is the subscription, right? Like you can add that in right into an upsell, but having like maybe you have like a makeup box, or a tutorial where they just hang out. Like one guy that I met at Funnel Hacking Live, they asked me to host a roundtable there, which was awesome. And
Uh-huh.
the one guy came over and he's like, oh, I do like the barbecue stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he's like selling physical products, but
Mhm.
his continuity is him just going live in a Facebook group, talk like, and he drinks bourbon and then he smokes meat. Like that's his continuity piece. And now he's like, oh, I want to start selling like physical products to these guys. Like it doesn't have to always be like, oh, it's a subscription box or it's
Uh,
a members area. You can mix in the two. That's why I love looking at like like for example, like Disney. Disney's like my favorite company to look at. I think they make the best offers, and they're good at maximizing profits out from
mhm.
their customers, right? So here's like an example. I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, but I love using this example, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is, again, goes back to those of you that are doing well, like Disney, they're doing well, right?
Uh-huh.
But they're always thinking like, how do we make more, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. You should have that mindset. Like, how do we make more? How do we provide more value to the customer? So, Disney, when they launched those pins, you've seen those pins that people collect at Disneyland.
No, man. No, I haven't. I haven't
Oh
been to
man, I'm
Disney.
sure somebody listening, what I'm talking about. So basically, they sell these collectible pins with all the different kinds of characters, and like every year new ones come out. People are obsessed with these. Like if you ever go to Disney World, you'll see everybody's wearing these pins all over themselves. So they were like, okay, well, how do we make more? People love these. It's already very profitable, high margin product for us. They started selling like the lanyard, right? They're like, oh, well, let's give them a lanyard. Instead of putting it on the shirt, let's sell them a lanyard, right? Order bump, upsell opportunity. And then they still were like, okay, this is so profitable for us. How do we make more, right? They're always thinking like, how do we make more out of this? Even though most people at that point be like, okay, let's move on to the next thing, right? They're thinking, how do we make more? So what they did is they started listening to their customers, right? Which is something another conversation is to like actually talk to your customers, see what other problems they have. And what they did is they started listening to the customers' complaints about their pins. And what they realized is a lot of these people, they were losing that. You know how a pin has that pin back, right? They realized like those were falling off and they were losing their pin. So people were complaining about that. They're like, oh man, something's wrong. Like these pins, they kind of lose it. So what does Disney do? They can either go and make the product better, or they just offered a different solution, right? They offered and started selling like these rubber case backs at the point of purchase for them. They didn't fix the product, right? The people already love the product. They raised their hand. They love the product. So they started selling the rubber case back, like a 10 pack for like $15, right? Something that costs them like a cent to probably make. And that's something important to understand. Like as you like start getting to the next level, like, as you scale to those massive levels, right? Your cost per purchase sometimes goes higher, right? Because it's with scale, that's what happens, right? Because you're starting to go to more broader audiences. So you need to figure out ways where you can like monetize what you already have as best as you can. And that's why I love the funnel, because it allows you to do that, right? Just like this example, right? You have your order form, you can have quantity discounts. I always offer that, order bumps, right? Easy things to sell people, upsells, and then like the monthly subscription. And again, look at Disney, right? Now they have that Disney Plus thing, right? A lot of these companies, all these big companies out there are moving towards some sort of subscription model, because they realize, having that predictable revenue is so important.
Very, very good point. A lot of business owners, like they're saying that if Facebook ads, for example, don't work for them, right? Because we do a lot of like Facebook advertising, it's because of the Facebook ads, or it's because of like some hidden like feature in it. But mostly like it doesn't work because of the offer, right? Like the offer on the front end is not good enough, or the product is not good enough. And then they might not be profitable because the funnel and overall kind of like how that customers monetize is because that's not good enough, not sufficient to be competitive in the auction. So that's exactly what you said. So it's like not many people that understand that. So that's good.
That's the thing is like I have like this very simplistic formula that usually when I look at like advertisements, look at like, hey, what's our average cart value, what's the lifetime value? It usually comes down to either those two things. It's either it's the offer or the niche, right? Like those are the way I look at it. Like, and I just use those simple for it. Niche times offer equals sales. If you're not making sales, it's going to come to, hey, is the targeting off? Are you putting the right offer in front of the wrong audience, or you are, and this is just the offer just isn't good, right? And it goes vice versa as well. Maybe you will put together a awesome offer. You're just targeting the wrong people, right? They're just not interested.
And you've done some drop shipping, right? How do you integrate like the ClickFunnels and have you done like fulfillment through like the AliExpress, or how
yeah, so there's now, back in the day, 2 years ago, even last year, it was much more kind of like difficult. You could use App Trends. That's a paid tool that pushes them to Shopify, and you could do all that. There's a new tool, a company that I worked with. I'm not affiliated with them by any means, but I help them. It's called Dropton, and it's basically Oberlo for ClickFunnels. So you could just do everything's one click, and then it does it all. It even sends out emails on your behalf, like with tracking information to the customers. So
that's interesting. What's the name of that company again?
Dropton,
Drop ton. Let me.
Yeah, drop ton.
Yeah,
I think it's just
probably.
dropton.com, but it's awesome. I shot a video on it, and it's a great tool, right? It's exactly what Oberlo is, right? But
Oh, that's interesting, man. Is that like easy to set up?
I have a tutorial on there.
Uh-huh.
I think they even have me on there somewhere. But it's just a webhook. You literally just take a webhook, add your products in there, and it maps them. It's exactly like Oberlo, and then you just click a button. It just orders the products.
That's interesting. So with your supplement business that you launched, and you mentioned that like Facebook is like a bit tricky, like to advertise these kind of offers. So how do you get like accounts shut down and stuff?
So I haven't. So our supplement, we've only been advertising through influencers, right? So mainly just like YouTube review videos and stuff like that, and Instagram influencers, meme pages, personal brands. And that's been working well. Obviously, the pixels installed there just to start building that up, and we have very basic retargeting ads running on Facebook right now. So, I have, knock on wood, I've had, accounts shut down in the past, but, fortunately, I've been able to actually recover them. The supplement game is a little bit difficult because you can't say certain things, right? You can't, especially in the supplements, anything people consume, makeup, anything like that. You can't make crazy kind of claims. Certain people can get away with certain things, right? I see this time and time again. Usually, from what I've seen, just like the correlation is if you're a verified page, you can break a lot of the rules, right? As opposed to like somebody that's just coming in for the first time and advertising, right? And you could see this a lot, right? You could see this a lot. It's not even just about spend. It's like about whatever the verification means to them. Trying to sell it right now as a full price product on a cold traffic would be difficult to do. So that's why we're going to be moving towards a free plus shipping model. And again, just being, it's a low friction buy. So the selling doesn't have to be that hard, right? We don't have to necessarily sell them that hard, because even the landing page is going to have to be very, very simple, because, you know this, but even Facebook looks at that first landing page, right? Like, what are you saying? What kind of claims are you making on there? Right. And if you just start raising red flags, and there's like a danger zone that I have found, like when you're spending like that, that $20,000 to $60,000 a month, which is a good amount of money, but like, that's like the danger zone that I've realized in Facebook. Like, that's where like they're going to start looking at you more closely, as opposed to when you just start out. Like, you can get away with the craziest stuff when you're just starting out, but then once you start scaling it, you'll start seeing that they're looking at you more. And then you kind of have to prove yourself over a long period of time. And then they kind of become a little bit more lenient after that. That's just from what I've seen.
Cool. Why you decided to do supplements? You had some like inspiration or like personal?
It's funny, like this is probably like the worst way to start a business, but like the way I look at starting businesses, like if I use something all the time, I just try and start a business around it and just use my own product. Right. It's like, why? So I would always do, there was like this pre-workout and this nootropics that I was taking, and it was like in multiple containers that I was saying, I was like 3 or 4 different items. And I was like, man, like I take this every single day. I'm paying these people a ridiculous amount of money, right? Why don't I just make my own? So it took a little bit of time. I'm by no means a scientist. But our manufacturer has a team that was able to, I basically sent them what I wanted in mind. And then they do like the actual testing to see like, hey, what kind of balance of these ingredients that we actually want. One thing that was really important to me for this is, it has to be, all made in America, has to be all organic, has to be like, packaged safely. Like all of that was really important to me with this, because, to me, who I'm throwing rocks at, and that's another topic, is like always throw rocks at somebody. You have to be, right? Like for me, it's like, Red Bull, Monster, right? Like those sugary Starbucks drinks, right? That's who we're kind of like attacking in our marketing. Right. So, ours is, zero calories, sugars, carbs, all those things. And I fast every single day. So it was important to me to have a drink like that as well. And yeah, it kind of, it's been a long process. I'll tell you, it took a year just for them to develop the thing. before,
Jeez.
right? So it took a long time, one, because again, it doesn't have any like artificial sweeteners and stuff in it, so like the taste wasn't the best when we started, but we've gotten to a good point with it. I tried a lot of experiments with this stuff. We, you know, it's funny when they were sending me this stuff, my wife was like, what are these people sending you? They're in like the samples, like the original samples were in like these very shady black bags. So it's like not in a container, and just like, wait, you're gonna drink that? What's in that thing? It was a fun time trying to get that right, which we finally got right. And
So in terms of like development, like how much typically like cost to develop like like sophisticated product like that?
yeah, so there's two ways you can go. Like I could have went where I just white label like a nootropic and just like make a cool label and all that stuff. That's very easy to do. There's a company called Ship Offers. They'll drop ship this stuff for you as well. They'll put your label up and they'll yeah, Ship Offers, and I think they integrate right into Clickfunnels too, which is cool. And they will literally, they have a ton of inventory. They basically put your label on it and you could sell supplements, right? And that's very easy. You can do it. I don't even think you have to buy any more than 100 units at a time, and they'll do it for you. However, if you want to do a custom formulation like we did, that's going to, the order quantities have to be higher, right? The MOQs have to be higher because they're not going to do a production line for 100 units, right? The costs would be just so ridiculously high. They would do it, but like it would just be very high for you, right? So like for us, it was just a big investment. If you're going to do a custom formulation, I think it depends on what you do. At least in the nootropic space, it was a little bit more expensive, but I would definitely have at least like $5,000 to $20,000 around. If you're going to do like a custom, let's say a custom protein powder or a custom, XYZ, right?
So like 20K would be sufficient to develop like.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's on the high end. Again, that's in my niche. What I know, I don't know as far as like if you were going to do like a makeup or something like that, or protein powder. But from what I've seen in the supplement space, like as far as green juices go, and the nootropics, those usually you can get away with roughly around 10 to 20K.
Wow, that's interesting. Like for supplements, I know some companies that sell like product for like $70. They would spend like 110 or 150 for the acquisition on the front end.
Yeah, what I've realized is and this is like when people ask, oh, should I start a supplement business? I think I love it, yes, because the margins are really high. But what you have to understand in any niche where the margins are insanely good, right? There's going to be a lot of sharks in that water. Okay. They're going to be hungry. Look at every single personal brand on Instagram is launching their own makeup company or supplement. Look at every fitness YouTuber, right, is launching their own protein powders and pre-workouts, right? Because they understand, right? They understand like the people aren't buying the supplement necessarily for the protein powder. They're buying it because they like this guy, right? So they want to support him. But again, those are very good margin products. You have to understand, like if you understand marketing, direct response marketing, I think you'll be successful. But if for somebody that's just getting into it, I wouldn't recommend it because your marketing, you have to understand like copy and you have to understand those things because if you just go and try and go make your protein powder, your green juice, and you think that it's the product that's going to sell, you're in for a rude awakening because it's the marketing that matters, right? And it goes for like any single product. The best product doesn't always win. We all know that, right? Like it's the people that market kind of the best are the ones that are going to win it. So, yeah, like I said, I would recommend people get to that level. I think consumables and supplements, they're very high margin, and there's a lot of opportunity to grow, like as far as growth is concerned, especially easy subscription in there as well, right? Like if you're selling like, again, protein powder, lipsticks, whatever, right? It's very easy.
Cool. I see a lot of books on the background. Like what are your favorite books?
Oh man. I read a lot. So this is like the best one as far as for e-commerce is concerned. And especially supplements, the 12-month millionaire, right? So if you've never read that book, it sounds very clickbaity title, but you won't find this on Amazon. You have to literally go spend a couple $100 on eBay and find yourself a copy.
Really? Really?
of it. Yeah. So basically what this guy shows is he literally, no, this is not an exaggeration. I'm not affiliated with this guy at all, by the way. But he documented exactly how he built a supplement business to $100 million in 12 months. And he literally showed like scripts that he would sell. He showed like scripts that his phone people would make. The reason this book is probably not in print anymore is because this guy got wrapped up in some weird legal issues. So I believe he's still in jail. Just like warning, but there's some good knowledge in there. If you're ethical, it's a good book for you. It's a big book too. So that would be like my number one recommendation. And this is definitely a book that's dangerous in the wrong hands, because he, like I said, he gives like way over delivers in this book. So
wow, that's awesome. And so is this kind of like adapted for today, like in terms of the advertising and stuff,
if you read it in that lens, yes. 100%. Yeah.
Wow.
Like some of the stuff that as far as advertising is concerned, you obviously, Facebook is very tough right now, right? It's very tough with claims and stuff like that, and rightfully so. They want to protect their most valuable asset. So you have to adapt some of those things, but there's a lot of those things that he talks about in there you could still use.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting, man.
I think they have like PDFs of it online too. So
you share some nuggets. How did you find this book, like, in the first place?
Russell actually recommended it to me.
Yeah.
So I was like this was 3 years ago now. I was like in one of his, not his inner circle, but one of his like mastermind things. And he basically gave everybody that book. So
okay.
He has like an interview with this guy, I guess before or after I have no idea if he's in jail still. I don't know the guy at all. But Russell had like a 6-part interview series with him. Which is like,
he said like, yeah, so it's basically he's done the interview series and then he packaged this like as an information product, and then he was selling it. Is that it?
No, I think the book came first, right? The book came actually first, and then Russell loved the book and then asked them to do this podcast with him. Or not podcast, it was like a 6-part series, some sort of information product that they put together. So
cool, that's interesting. So you have a lot of emphasis on this kind of like integration of like regular business plus the subscription model. So with subscription models, like in your experience, do you need can you get away with Stripe, or you need like a higher risk merchant processing?
Yeah, either way, I've got like four payment merchant accounts because I still, knock on wood again, I feel like I'm saying a lot of things that'll get me in trouble now, but I've never lost a Stripe account. I've never lost a PayPal account. I've always played by the rules. I've always refunded my customers. I think everybody should do that. I see a lot of people giving way too many headaches for like $20 just to refund your customer, right? Like it's not worth the headache that one person can bring you, especially with chargebacks. And there are services out there like Chargeback 911 that can manage all those things for you as well. However, as far as merchant accounts go, have them as backups. I still use Stripe. Oh, well, for my supplement, you can't, but I use ClickBank as my payment processor. For that, we're getting set up as, because a lot of these merchant accounts, they want to see revenue from that business before they approve you. So we're on ClickBank temporarily, build up a couple 6 months to a year of revenue then that we could provide to them, and then we'll be moving to a merchant account.
Cool, interesting. You do you still do drop shipping, or you just evolved from that?
So I personally evolved, right? I didn't want to, I think drop shipping, if you're a new person, it's the best way to get your feet wet, best way to like start seeing actual money come in. But you man, like you see a lot, I see a lot of people that lost their businesses are in $100K a month, right? And I'm like, use this as a learning lesson for yourself. And a lot of the people that that we have, a lot of successful students, I'm like, why are you're getting comfortable with this, right? You should want to build something, right? Always look at the bottlenecks of your business, right? And a lot of times that the supply chain is a very big one, right? If your supplier can't do this, right, your business is shut down, right? I hate having one of anything, right? Like that's like, I never want to have one of anything. And like, for example, with the supplier, right? If they go away, you're kind of toast, right? So you should always have like the vision to be like, okay, I'm going to brand these products, I'm going to source them, have a fulfillment center actually doing them, and grow my business from that, right? Use like the drop shipping model. I consider it still like the thing is like drop shipping is like relative. A lot of people think like drop shipping is like AliExpress, but it's not, right? When I was operating my fishing business, I had a supplier. He lived in like Pennsylvania, not that far from me. And he drop shipped for me. I was like, he didn't even know what drop shipping was, but I was like, oh wait, if I send you orders, every single day, will you ship them out for me? And he's like, yes, I'll do that. Right. And then I would pay him on like a weekly basis. Right. So it's just the idea of a supplier shipping on your behalf. But either way, you always just, always have a longer term vision for your business. Like I always want to start something that'll be here for a long time. I don't want something that's going to be, just to make some money and leave.
Personal side, you mentioned that you're fasting, right?
Yeah, fasting. Yeah,
like on a daily basis. You do this like intermittent. How it's called? Yeah,
intermittent fasting.
How many hours a day?
See, I don't even track that. So basically, it's I have my last meal probably like 8 o'clock at night. I try to get in all my meals from roughly 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. in those 4 or 5 hours, and then I'll usually just fast until 3-4 o'clock the next day. Right. And the reason I've done that is like, if I had eaten and then like jumped on this thing, like I wouldn't have the same energy. I wouldn't have like the same, like clarity. We hosted our first live event actually like 2 weeks ago. And, yeah. And I fasted literally from 6 a.m, probably like 5:45 till like 4 or 5 o'clock at night. And I was still going, like I wasn't even hungry anymore. Right. It's not you get past it once you start doing it, but you'll realize like the second you eat, your body starts using its energy to digest that food, as opposed to focusing on whatever it is that you want to do. It's honestly like, I recommend. I know it's crazy. Some people are like, oh no way, I can never skip breakfast or skip lunch, right? But it helps. It helped me at least tremendously. It might not be for everybody, but it's been I was fasting anyway for years as an entrepreneur. Like sometimes you get like zoned in and you forget to eat hours. So I was basically fasting anyway. I just kind of push it out a little bit more.
So in terms of the like personal stuff, right? Because I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs like neglect. So they would work very hard, but their like nutrition would be like not the best. To like eat some fast food and drinks and stuff. So what are the main lessons like you've learned throughout this, throughout your past?
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't like when people are like trying to show their life as it's perfect or something like that. Everybody falls off their diet. Everybody does, everybody does that. Like, honestly, and anybody that tells you they're not, like, they might be like, David Goggins level. I don't know. but like me, like, yeah, of course, there's going to be times where, I go out with my wife, or like, one of the guys that works with me here, he stayed with me for a month. He lives in Dubai, but he stayed here at my house. Of course, there were some meals here and there, because it's like, it just happens. You're a human. But you should always go back to like your baseline at least. So, like, I've been doing this thing, I call it the build system. And every single day I kind of like want to hit certain goals in my life. And a lot of people, they focus so much on the business, and trust me, I do that too. I constantly am like always thinking about like work or like what I could be doing more. And it's hard to kind of like disconnect from that and like just work on, other parts of your life. Because to live a good, well-rounded life, it can't just be work. Trust me, like no amount of money in the world will make you happy. But, this build system, what I kind of call this is like each of those letters stands for something. So B stands for body, right? Like, how did you take care of your body today? Did you have a smoothie? Did you go for a walk for a half an hour? Right? Did you work out? Right? That's like a body goal, right? The U goal is, I call this U time. Right. And this is like to do something that you just want to do. Right. So like one time it was just like, I wanted to learn how to play chess better. Right. So it was something I always did as a kid. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to, use this quarter. That's going to be my U time. Right. So for 30 minutes a day, right, I would just do what I want. I'd play chess. Or if you're somebody that maybe wants to like, play video games or learn a new language, right, give yourself 30 minutes to an hour to do whatever you want that day. Right. And there's no right or wrong here. That's your time. The I goal, and build is income, right? Income goal, right? This one goes a little bit deeper. This is like, how did you impact the income of your business or whatever it is that you're working on? Now, some of those, they might not necessarily be like, oh, I took 10 sales calls today and closed 10 people. Like, it's not always like that. It might be like launching some ads. It might be like creating offers or whatever it might be. But it's like, basically the way you can look at the I goal is like, hey, did you actually do something impactful in your business that'll eventually lead to money? Right. The L goal is relationships. This kind of breaks off into two: personal and then like business. We all know business is so much easier when you have good actual good business relationships, right? You could look at these personal brands out there that blow up businesses because they use their product one time. All right. So it's important to have that time where you're trying to become friends with these people. Be like a normal person. Don't like hit them in the DMs and be like, hey, business inquiry. Like that doesn't work, right? Especially for personal brands. Try and like form relationships with them. Go to conventions in your niche, right? Get on podcasts in your niche. Go on YouTube channels in your niche. There's content in every niche, okay, that you can start creating, right? And then there's like the personal relationships, right? Like, did you spend time with your kids? Did you spend time with your wife today? Or did you just completely ignore them all day, right? And this is like the hardest one probably for most entrepreneurs because they're so focused on their business, is like, oh, taking that time out to actually work on your life, your real life, right? Like, why are you working so hard, right? There's probably reasons, and most of the time it's a lot of family related things, but at the end of the day, what if you didn't even spend any time with them, right? So it was the whole point of all this, right? And the final is the D goal, that's development. And that's like, hey, you know what? Let's say you want to, learn something, right? Did you read a book about it? Did you take an online course? Whatever it is that you want to do, maybe it's, how to, you want to learn a new language or whatever it is, right? Did you develop your kind of yourself today, right? Whether it's reading or doing like an online course or something like that. So, for me, obviously you're not going to hit those goals every single day. Some days maybe you didn't read, right? Maybe some goals you didn't work out, but like at the end of the day, I always like to look on Sundays and I journal all this stuff in my journal. I just write BUILD at the top of every day and I circle them, right? And I circle the points when I get them that day. And that's a good way, like, especially at the end of the week, to look at like, hey, man, all I did this week was work on my business. I didn't like hang out with my family at all. I didn't do it. And then you're like, okay, well, maybe this week, let's set some goals, like have a date night, have like a, go to the playground with your kids or whatever it is. Right. But that at the end of the day, like the whole reason that I push this so much to everyone, the build system, I call it, is because like, I'm telling you, like, no matter how much money you have, if you're not happy now, you're not going to. I hated when people said that to me when I was like, not making any money. But I tell you, if you're not, if you're not happy now, you're not going to be happy when you're making $100,000 a month. You'll probably just be more stressed, if anything. So,
man, that's so true. Like, I used to think that back. I'm from Ukraine, so I just think like if I'll make like $2,000 per month, I'll be just like traveling the world and stuff.
It is fun. It's funny though, because we now have that perspective, right?
What would be like one piece of advice, like to everyone like listening, if people would just like take that one piece of advice and implement it, like what would that be?
Man, we covered so much. I feel like there's so much that we've covered. So, man, like one thing is that I would say is like, and I didn't harp on it enough, but like to have some sort of predictable revenue in your business, right? Like whether it's my coaching consulting business or it's my e-commerce business, right? I wouldn't start a business that doesn't have recurring revenue in it in some way. Right? You have to have something like that. Like there's going to be months where you're just for whatever reason, your ads aren't working that well, right? Your cost of purchase are through the roof. At least you have that money that's coming in from like your membership site or subscription box, that'll keep your business afloat. So important to have that. That's like the one thing, like I say this a lot, is like, I wouldn't start a business if it didn't have that. If there was not at least some sort of subscription aspect that I can add into it, that's going to give me that kind of like that predictable revenue. That to me is like the one of the biggest pillars.
And now if you think about it, right, like the platforms, like the people mostly use, like let's say Shopify and Clickfunnels, what are these?
Yeah, subscription. Everything is a subscription. I mean, and they're so easy to put into your business, right? So easy, right? So like, for example, like I'm subscribed to so many things. I want to automate my life as much as possible. Like for example, like toothbrushes, right? There's a company called Quib.com. They
Yeah.
will literally just send you a battery and a toothbrush every like month or every 2 months or whatever it is, right? Very easy. And they like their churn rate is probably so ridiculously low on that, right? Think about something easy like that. Like if you're selling a supplement or makeup, right? People are going to buy it anyway. Just give them a better deal, subscribe and save, right? Like my supplement, just, okay, it's cheaper. Here, get on it. Right. So think about it outside the box. Like if you're maybe in a fitness niche, right? If I'm in the fitness niche or I'm doing something in the fitness niche, like I'm going to try and sell a lot of information because that's what people, they want. That's, I mean, till the
Yeah.
end. I love the fitness niche because like it's incredible, right? Literally every week there's a new fitness program coming out there that people are like, oh, this time it's going to be different, right? Like it's like, come on, man. Like there's so many it just shows you how much opportunity is out there. And like I don't believe in like saturation, like because of the fitness niche, right? People will continue to buy fitness programs till the end of time, right? And if you're selling like resistance bands or something like that, sell courses, sell PDFs, cheat sheets, or something like that. You know, don't call them ebooks, don't call them lame things. You have to use your marketing here, right? Especially for digital products. You can't just call them like boring things. That you have to call them something cool. Okay, that's going to enhance your customer's experience. Again, your goal is always to help your customer get to whatever result that is that they want, right? Whether it's get fit or distract their dog for an hour at a time with your chewy toys or whatever it might be. So that, but at the end of the day, like that's my biggest piece of advice for anybody is just like, whether you're doing well or you're just starting out, like start thinking of ways that you can add some sort of subscription into your business. I usually recommend people try and stick to at least 50% margin on the subscription, because again, you're going to need that money, right? A lot of money that you make on the front end, you're not necessarily going to be able to like pay yourself from that, right? A lot of that money is reinvested back in your business, but the subscription allows you to kind of be able to pay yourself out of the business. So
awesome, man. So good message. Yeah, it's like a lot of people, and a lot of our clients are students, like they kind of like figured it out, even like on the front end. They're like 20, 30, like 40% profitable, which is ridiculous. If they would add like the subscription on the back end.
Yeah, again, especially for those people doing well already, you can be doing better, right? You have to think about it. Like just because I don't know, I live in like a very not paranoid life, but I am always thinking of ways to maximize everything that I do, right? Because I'm telling you, whatever your business is, there might be a competitor that comes in there, the Uber or whatever you sell, dog treats, and just completely destroys you, right? So always, don't be super paranoid or like anxious and scared that might happen, but like extract as much money that you can right now while everything's working well for you, because that's the easiest time to do it, right? If you're already profitable on the front end, like add more add more stuff in for your customers to buy, because that's telling you that, hey, these people like you, they trust you, they want more from you. They just, if you're profitable on the front end, that tells me that you should be selling more to them, right? Set up maybe some email automations for your buyers, remarketing campaigns towards your buyers, right? This is another big concept. There should never be a dead end to anything, right? So if I come to your store and I buy, the dog treat, the dog chew toy, and I subscribe to the subscription, and I ask, oh, what else is there? And you're like, oh, that's all we offer, right? No, there has to be always more. There should never be a dead end. And the second somebody buys that thing, there should be another thing unlocked soon, right? Like you should always be thinking, how can you get more from your customers? Because they will, like, you're going to have, like, if you're in like the pet niche or whatever, there's always going to be those hyperactive buyers that want something more from you. Right. So you have to stretch the imagination. You have to think about things. I always like looking at different niches that are completely irrelevant, and just see like, hey, well, what are these people doing successfully? How can I do something like that? So, try not to have those dead ends in your business. Especially, if you're obviously, profitable already, like, look at what other places where you can monetize. Maybe you haven't been doing like email marketing automations on the back end, right? That's like easy. That's free money, right? That's your email list there. That's, if you're not emailing them a few times a week, you're leaving, money on the table. You can launch your more expensive offers too.
Awesome. Very good insight. So yeah, like, I mean, 100% agree. Like, like it's like maximizing the opportunity while you're at it, like while you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think every business, like it's like it's like easy to get used to, like when things are good, but as you said, being like paranoid about it, like for example, what happens tomorrow, like if like, I don't know, your ad account gets shut down, or like the competitor, like getting the most out of that like window of opportunity, like it's very good point, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's, yeah, don't be like, like me, but I always look for anywhere where there's a bottleneck, or anywhere where there's only one of, like payment processors, ad accounts, business managers, right? Like all those things. Like, I never just want one, right? I rather just play it super, super safe, because, you have to look at it, right, as like look at your business as like, like there's like different, like kind of like a spider, right? Like you have different avenues that can get in, right? But if you only have like one avenue for people to make sales, and that's Facebook, that probably means, okay, maybe you're having your best month of sales yet, but like maybe you should go look at like YouTube ads or Google ads, or like, Bing. I don't know. Just go start looking at different places, like influencers, where you can still be making more sales, unlock a new channel for yourself. That's usually where I recommend people start looking at different sales channels as well. Like when you're already maybe getting to that 6 figures per month, is get on Amazon, right? That's free money just waiting there for you. That's free money, free customers. It's not a great place to start, but at least that's free sales to get your product in the door. Walmart's pretty simple to get on as well. Just start unlocking different kinds of sales channels where you can go. A lot of people, they think, oh, my customer would never go to eBay and buy my product, but you don't know. So that could also be, the more sales channels you have, the better off you're going to be.
And I mean, in terms of the valuation for those businesses that have like multi-channel integrated, I mean, those are also higher. So that's multiple,
and subscription as well. I think the statistic was like 10x, right? Like they valued it, because investors want to go into a business where they don't have to do much, right? Like a lot of times they want to go into a business that has, predictable revenue already in it, right? Where they can be like, okay, well, over the next year at 20% churn rate, we can make XYZ, so they can better formulate like an actual decision. As far as selling, right, a lot of times people don't realize, like, it's not always, like a lot of businesses, sometimes it doesn't make sense for one business to buy a business versus another. Like when you look at like Amazon, or Disney, right? You have to, if you're thinking about doing that, and I think that that's a very easy way to grow business quickly, is like by acquiring, your smaller competitors, because you're not acquiring their product unless it's super innovative. You're not buying that. You're buying the assets of that business, right? Look like when Facebook bought Instagram, they had the tech people to build their own Instagram. They have the smartest people in the world. They're buying the assets, right? When like Disney bought Marvel, right? They're buying it because it doesn't make sense for anybody else to buy Marvel. Really, it doesn't. But guess what? When they bought them, they immediately, like, people were like, wait, that's so pointless. But with their systems, they're able to make dolls out of it, movies, right? They have all these other systems that they can then use for each character. They bought the characters. That's who they wanted, right? Same thing with Amazon when they bought Whole Foods, right? That's their whole play, right? It doesn't make anybody sense for anybody else to buy Whole Foods but Amazon, right? Especially when they start paying these premiums for it, right? A lot of the investors, when you look at like they're like, oh, Amazon's crazy, but like immediately, they're able to plug that into their system and be profitable immediately. So I think especially with subscription, if you either want to sell your business, your valuation will be higher, and the more assets and sales channels you have. But if you also want to acquire businesses, that's also a really, really good play as well. I think there's a lot there.
Awesome. And thank you so much for sharing a lot of great insights. Guys, follow Peter on definitely YouTube. Let's subscribe to your channel.
E-commerce empire builders. You can type it into YouTube, Google. You can type in Peter Pru as well, and you'll find me all over social media and YouTube and stuff. But I hope I could have dropped some value for everybody. If you post this on YouTube, I'll make sure to check out the comments as well and answer any questions that you guys have.
Guys, thank you for watching. Just drop your questions below, and thank you guys. Thank you, Peter.